Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a postpartum recap video, a 6-month postpartum video. And so I made a list and I just want to do a chatty video with you guys and I made some key points of things I want to stick to, but it was going to be super casual. And I just kind of wrote down the most important things that I wanted to talk about and kind of what I've learned over the past 6 months. So the first thing is rest and the first 40 days, which we'll call the 4th trimester. So the first 40 days I was super low-key. The first 2 weeks after birth, I actually stayed in bed the whole time. So I stayed upstairs. Our house is 2-story. So I stayed upstairs. My husband, thank God for him, he did everything and took care of me. Laundry, dishes, cooking, I didn't do anything. I stayed in bed with the baby skin to skin and just, got the hang of breastfeeding and nursing. And we bed share still to this day, which we'll talk about more later in the video. But those first 2 weeks are just so important to be taken care of and nourished and rest. The only thing I would really do is like walk around the room a little bit, stretch my legs, get up to go to the bathroom or take a bath. But other than that, I was not running around. I was not doing anything. I wasn't even going downstairs. I just really wanted to heal. And so the best way to do that is to stay in bed with your legs closed. So that's what I did. And after those 2 weeks, so for the rest of the 40 days, the 4th trimester, I still didn't do a lot. I think when I was maybe 4 weeks postpartum, we ventured out of the house to get a coffee. Didn't even get out of the car, just sat in the car and went in the drive-thru because I wanted to get out of the house. But, we weren't going to appointments. We weren't going shopping and walking around or anything crazy. I think my first outing was like a little stroll around Target, beyond those 40 days. But yeah, and I can't tell you how important that is. Like, I feel like that's one of my biggest pieces of advice being fresh postpartum is to stay in bed. And I know not everyone is, lucky to have that help, but that help is necessary. It's not I don't want to say privilege, because I guess some people have the privilege of having help, whereas if you're far from family, you might not have that. However, in other countries, that is not even an option. It is a given. That is what women are doing, is being taken care of. And here I feel like it's more of, it's not really respected, and it's just kind of assumed that you are going to do things on your own and be independent and blah, blah, blah. So I want to encourage you, set yourself up for that. If you don't have family around, hire some sort of postpartum doula to come do your laundry or cook for you or bring you a meal or set up a meal train. Do something so that you can be taken care of and rest. Rest is like the most important thing. All right, on to the next topic. So we covered resting, staying in bed. I want to talk about nursing and bed sharing, because there's 2 and 2 I feel like really go together, especially when you're fresh postpartum. So nursing was amazing. I did not have any problems nursing, and I know for a fact that's for 2 reasons. One, I had an amazing non-traumatic birth, physiological, unmedicated, all the things, normal birth, undisturbed at home. So I set myself up for success with that, because the hormonal matrix of birth was not disturbed and no one touched my baby. We were able to just be together and be undisturbed. And so nursing just works. The other thing is bed sharing. He slept in our bed from the beginning, and he still does 6 months later, and I don't see any end to that anytime soon. It works. And so with the bed sharing, there's, I feel like, a few things I want to touch on. The main one is your nursing relationship. It is going to just ensure that that is as successful as possible, your skin to skin. And number two, I cannot imagine, especially in the beginning, like, you know, I was sore. Having your baby somewhere else, in a different room, or I guess most people still have their baby in the same room, but even in a bassinet, getting out of bed and changing a diaper and doing all that, like, I just can't imagine. It was so easy to just have him right there, and when he was hungry, all I had to do was, I didn't have to do anything, just stick my boob back in his mouth. And I mean, so many benefits to bed sharing, but I'll probably do a whole separate video on bed sharing and all of the benefits and how that's so normal. I'll do a separate video on that, but the gist of it is, I know that is a big part in the success of our breastfeeding relationship, and also just bonding and the ease of not having to get up out of bed, especially so fresh postpartum when you're recovering, and just to have your baby right there. The next thing, cloth diapering. I know I'm kind of going through these fast, and I'll probably make like a separate video on some of these topics later, and let me know in the comments below too if there's a certain topic you want me to really go into detail on, but I'm kind of going off my list here. The other thing is cloth diapering. So I knew I was in a cloth diaper before I had him, but for the first month of his life, we just did disposables. You know, I'm adjusting to motherhood, I'm healing. It was just one more thing that I didn't want to add to my plate. And so we just did disposables. I can hear him crying out there with my mom, but we'll make this quick. So I did disposables for the first month. And I think that was awesome because I just didn't need the one extra thing to do, or more laundry for my husband who's already doing literally everything. So yeah, I don't regret that. That worked great. And now I love cloth diapering. It does not leak as much as a disposable. Sorry. Postpartum hair loss. There's hair everywhere, so I just trying to get it off the bed. I told you guys this is going to be super casual, so just keeping it real here. I love it. It doesn't leak like disposables. The poop doesn't shoot up the back like the disposables do. And I was scared in the beginning, but I didn't have a diaper that fit well. Now I have an amazing brand, so we'll do a cloth diapering video later. But I love it. You save a shit ton of money on diapers. My baby's never had a diaper rash. I can go on and on. Cloth diapering, highly recommend. Don't be scared of it, especially when you're breastfeeding. The poop is water soluble. You literally take the poopy diaper, throw it right in the washing machine. You don't have to spray off the poop or anything. It's like so easy. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, I maybe should have said this one earlier, but we'll go to this first, is postpartum bleeding. I feel like I bled pretty heavily for the first 2 weeks, and after the first week, it started to like continue to lighten up, but the first 2 weeks were pretty heavy bleeding. I just wore Depends like all day. Number one, that shit was comfy as hell. If they were sexier, I would still wear them today because literally so comfy. I'm not about the thong life anymore. No. So, highly recommend Depends. Super comfy, not sexy, but you're not trying to be sexy 2 weeks postpartum. Anyway, so I wore those for like 2 weeks and the bleeding continued to lighten, but it was pretty heavy. I mean, heavier than a period. After the 2 weeks, I transitioned to just like a big like maxi pad basically for probably a couple more weeks. And then after that, I'd just wear a panty liner. And at that point, when I was wearing a panty liner, it was just like a little bit of like spotting, like almost like when you're at the end of your period. So, but I still wore one because I like didn't want to ruin my underwear. So I'd say I probably had about 6 weeks of bleeding, but not heavy bleeding. So first 2 weeks heavy, continued to lighten. So that was my experience with that. And I guess I should touch on like physical healing in general. I was pretty sore, and I wasn't sure if I had torn or not, because I mean, no one was looking down there. Obviously, you guys know if you watched my birth story video, and my actual birth video, go watch that if you haven't. But I had an undisturbed free birth at home, no midwife or anything, so no one was looking down there, and so I didn't know if I tore or not. And I wasn't gonna look down there right away with a mirror and then like freak myself out, because obviously shit's not gonna look normal right away. So I was like, there's really no point in looking. Even if I have a tear, I'm not gonna do anything about it. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna go get stitches. It's just gonna heal on its own. So I'm like, what's the point in even looking, right? So who's to say if I did or not? I really don't think I did, but I could have had a small little tear that healed on its own. I don't know. But I was really sore down there. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see, like, with the next baby if I'm as sore as this one, and maybe I'll draw a conclusion from there. But I mean, it's normal to be sore. Like, I pushed a freaking baby out of my vag. So I don't know, but my butt was sore. Oh my gosh. And if you watch my birth story video, you know, I talked all about that, like the pressure in your butt and everything from pushing. So I felt like my butthole, sorry, but it's true, was way more sore than my actual vagina. So in bed, that was the hardest part, like, because I was laying down in bed. So like getting up and just having a sore bottom was hard. It did really hurt. I was really sore for like a good 2 weeks. And then I kind of think once I got out of bed and started just venturing downstairs and just moving around the living room a little, that movement I feel like really helped maybe loosen things up and not feel so stiff and in pain. So I think the movement really helped. But yeah, okay. The next thing I want to talk about, and I feel like we went kind of through physical, everything. Let's talk about like emotional, taking care of yourself. Oh, okay. Well, one more thing physical, but this also kind of ties into taking care of yourself, and that is losing, I don't want to say, okay, losing weight in correlation with breastfeeding, I guess is how I'll say it. So I never cared what I weighed or anything. I gained 33 pounds throughout my pregnancy, which I loved. I thought I looked great. I felt great. I'm just really tiny to begin with, and so I felt like I just looked like full and filled out and great. And so I lost that weight pretty quickly from breastfeeding. I feel like not in the first couple months, but these last few months, like I've weighed myself just to see, because I've noticed some of my pre-pregnancy pants are like a little bit baggy in the knees and stuff, but I'm like below my pre-pregnancy weight by like a few pounds. But a few pounds is kind of a big difference on me, because I'm just tiny. And, you know, I'm burning a ton of calories just from day-to-day life tasks with the baby, but breastfeeding is a full-time job, and you burn a lot of calories. And so you have to be getting a ton of calories in throughout the day in your meals, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very good at that. I never have been. I'm more of like a grazer. I eat a little bit here and there often, which isn't bad, but I need to really up my calorie intake to stay energized and feel good, because how am I gonna take care of him if I don't take care of myself? But it is hard, especially in the newborn days when you're constantly nursing. I felt like I was tied to the couch. Like, I couldn't just get up and do something because I gotta feed this baby and I'm kind of trapped. So obviously that's gotten easier now that we're 6 months. He's not eating as much. He's still on the boob a ton. That's just how it is. But I definitely have more freedom, and so things are easier. But it's hard to constantly get in a ton of calories and make big meals, because I feel like I either don't have time to cook a huge meal, or I don't like know what to make. So that's kind of been a struggle for me, feeding myself, which might sound like weird, but I don't know, it's just the truth. And that's like something I've had a hard time with, but it is so important. I mean, breastfeeding women need like 2,800 to 3,000 calories, so that's a ton. I've never eaten that much in my life, you know, on a daily basis. So something I'm working on. something I wanted to mention because I feel like that's a physical aspect, and also that I guess I wasn't really expecting as much, or I just hadn't really thought about it, but that's also a taking care of yourself ordeal too. So let's move into that, which is, yeah, taking time to take care of yourself. I don't know what the hell I did before I had a baby, because yeah, I could have like wrote a fucking book or something with all my free time. Excuse my French, but it's true. I could have wrote a damn book. Because now I'm like, wow, what did I do? Like the times I would bitch that I didn't have time to do something, I'm like, girl, you did. So yeah, now taking care of yourself, well, okay, me time I should say, because two different things in my opinion. Me time and like self-care should not be personal hygiene. Like taking a shower, in my opinion, is not self-care. It's like basic hygiene, right? Like I gotta wash my ass. That's not self-care. I'm not getting like, rejuvenation vibe. I'm not getting like relaxation out of that. At least not for me. A shower is like relaxing for you, then that's your self-care. To me, it's like basic hygiene, right? So a shower, yeah, now they're like 2 minutes long, and then I can hear the baby screaming downstairs with my husband, and it's really fun. So self-care has been a struggle, trying to find time to do something that makes me feel good, or, even if it's just a little face mask or something in this season. I know things will change, and, as time goes on, I'll be able to do a little bit more, or, whatever, but right now it's just trying to do little things, like make myself a drink I really like, or go on a walk through Target. Do that a lot of times actually. But anyway, yeah, so face masks and a bath once in a while, or asking my husband like, hey, can you watch him? Really want to get my nails done for an hour, or just something to just give yourself a little bit of a mental break, because I feel like, for me at least, I don't feel physically tired, especially because we're bed sharing. Our sleep cycles sync up. I sleep pretty damn good. I get like at least 8 hours every night, but mentally I feel tired, and sometimes it's just you have mental exhaustion, and so just getting a little bit of time to yourself is really important. It's not much at this point, and it shouldn't be expected to be much, but just something, because if you're struggling mentally, it's really hard to take care of a human that relies on you. So just doing something for yourself, even if it's 5 minutes at night, to just like, I don't know, drink some tea with your face mask on and do whatever. Or, the baby naps on me, contact nap, so he'll fall asleep on me, and I get to at least sit on the couch for a little bit with him, maybe if it's 20 to 30 minute cat nap, and watch some Netflix or read a book. Reading is like one of my favorite things to do, and I've really wanted to get back into that because I haven't really for the past 6 months. So now I'm making a point to read when he falls asleep. Instead of binging on my phone, I will read a book, and that makes me happy, and that kind of fills my cup. And he's in my arms, but he's asleep, so it's still a little bit of a break. I guess the last thing I want to touch on is, I'll touch on two things. The first one is attachment parenting and kind of my style, which obviously with the bed sharing and the breastfeeding and just my kind of style of parenting, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And I guess I never thought of that before. Like, the way I parent is based on like biological truths and biological reality, and what babies, need, and what is normal for them at each stage. And so I kind of just try to parent like that. And I guess I just never realized like how much of a sacrifice that is. It really is. Like, it's probably so much easier to, don't come at me, but it's probably, way easier to sleep train and do all these different things. And it probably would be easier to do things like that for your mental sanity, I guess. And not that I don't love bed sharing, because I do, but it is a sacrifice, right? Like, there's another human in your bed. So I think certain aspects of parenting may be easier, and I'm not like saying it's right or wrong, like you do you, but there's biological truths in what infants need at certain stages. And I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm kind of rambling, is that parenting, attachment parenting, and doing things the way I want to do them is a sacrifice. And I guess I didn't realize how much it was. But it doesn't mean I would change it. There are hard times, and it's like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is hard, but it doesn't mean I want to change it. I just try to look to the future of how I want my baby to be in the future, how I want our relationship to be. And so I feel like I'm really setting ourselves up for that. And so in the hard moments, I just try to look at the bigger picture. Because it is hard when you're not in that village community with other women helping you raise your baby, right? Like, in our modern world, it's just so much independence, right? You're just expected to do it all. Moms just do it all, but we can't do it all. And without the help of a village, like we should have, with other women helping us raise our babies, it is a sacrifice, and it's hard. But I don't want to change anything. I just want to be honest about how it is a sacrifice and you don't have help. And I guess I didn't realize that as much, but I hope that makes sense. It's kind of rambling, but it's hard to put into words, like, all those feelings. So, and I want to do a whole other video also, really diving deep into like attachment parenting, the bed sharing, my kind of like parenting style. So we'll get into that, but I just wanted to keep this about like my thoughts being still fresh 6 months postpartum. I think what I'll end with is like what I've learned and like my piece of advice. So I guess the biggest takeaway is that motherhood is definitely harder than I thought. And not really taking care of my baby. I feel like taking care of my baby came pretty natural, right? I stick him on my boob, like that part's natural, and I feel like I know what to do in regards to taking care of him. The hardest part is taking care of myself and running my house with a baby. Because if all you have to do is take care of him, it's pretty easy. But just keeping up with day-to-day life tasks, feeding myself like we talked about, all those things, that's harder than I thought. And so that was a big learning. That's been the biggest thing I've learned, I guess. And then a piece of advice, 2 things. Fresh postpartum, stay in bed, rest, and let someone take care of you. I can't stress that enough. And then the second thing is, don't let other people's comments, because people say dumb fucking shit, excuse my language again, don't let other people's comments deter you from the way you're parenting, especially when you know your parenting aligns with the biological reality of whatever stage your baby's in, right? Like, if you sleep with them and they nurse still and they wake through the night, things that we know are normal, and then people come in with their dumb comments, don't let that deter you. Okay? So I guess that's the biggest thing, is staying true to what you know is working for you and your baby, and not letting other comments get in your head or think you're doing something wrong. Like, if it's working for the 2 of you, keep doing it. I can't stand when people make a comment when you know that whatever's happening is like biologically normal, and then they come in with a comment saying what you're doing is wrong, or if that's not normal. It's like, no, it is. So stay true to your guns, stick to what you know is right for you and your baby. And I guess that's my biggest piece of advice. Okay, let's wrap this up. I feel like I rambled a little bit and I jumped around. I hope that made sense. There's just a lot I wanted to talk about, and so I tried to just do a little bit of each kind of subject. So I do want to do more videos, and let me know if there's a specific topic you guys want me to talk about in depth, and I'll do a separate video on that, like the cloth diapering, or bed sharing, whatever, let me know, okay? But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really do. Thank you if you're still sticking around listening. I know it's been kind of long, but I hope this was fun. I had fun talking about this. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love that. I'm trying to really grow my YouTube, so please subscribe and comment down below what you want to see next, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.